It's taken a lot of years, and it what led me into that role was my mother disappearing in December 7th of 2010 on a Tuesday. And from there, my journey spiraled onto a path, an unwanted path. And it just, I just let the Lord guide me into this path and through. And it's taken 14 years to reach where I'm at. But I was not going to give up on my mother, and neither was my sister. And for me, my route was different than my sister's path, but we still meet eye to eye under power struggles, sister struggles. We have that. It's real. But yeah, so it let me down into wanting to know more how uh, a detective mind works, and to help me understand the law system and how missing persons victims are looked upon, and what to look for and what to spot. I needed to have that understanding. And I just couldn't settle for just my own type of research. So I really, really pedaled on towards that road. And I did get my certification for a PI. And I've been with search and support. With search and support, it was just a blessing that I met in October of 2021. I had just had stomach surgery, and I went to Cecilia Gallego's, vigil for domestic violence, because she also disappeared and still is unfound. And that's where I met Nina Brooks from Search and Support, and somehow we just connected and been with them ever since. She's a wonderful, wonderful supporter. She does not have a missing loved one, which is even more inspiring to me, because it's all heart. And that is what I have been looking for, is an organization that had pure heart, and was doing this just solely because they understand that there is a need for it, and there is a passion within individuals who are, they give their time, they support as they can. Every person is unique in the group. They all bring different set of skills. So yes, it was my mother and the Lord that brought me and has kept me on this path. And here I am
Amazing.
fighting.
Yes, amazing. So tell me a little bit about your mother's disappearance for people that are not too familiar.
Well, my mother's disappearance, she was having problems with her second marriage, and she left her second marriage and came back home to Bexar County to live in October of 2010. And by December uh, of 2010, her estranged husband was throughout this time, I guess, threatening her to return back. He gave her 3 months, and if she didn't return back, that he was going to kill her. Of course, we did not know these allegations, or because my mother was not telling us. She was, I guess, I said, I take it because I know my mom, is that she was so ashamed of it, ashamed that she married someone that was not the person. And that did come from her mouth, that this was not the man that she thought he was. And she told me that in June of 2010. And then I moved with her and him July 1st of 2010. And I saw a lot of stuff, a lot of red flags, and I had to move out by August 2010 out of there, because like I said, some things weren't adding up. And even though I told her, she wouldn't let on or give any clues if I was really seeing these things or I was imagining. So I moved out. So by October, she moved out. So I knew she was seeing the red flags, but everybody had some kind of a disagreement with her at this time in October. It's almost like the devil was at work here, causing all these arguments and separation, and and so we weren't actually communicating as well with my mom. Not any of us. Everybody had a little qualm that was against mom. My sister, and I don't know about my brother if he had any issues with her. But I know my sister was mad at her for something dumb. I was mad at her for something dumb. I think I felt the betrayal. I felt betrayed that she wasn't taking my caution, with this man, or she wasn't letting me know that I'm hearing you. So I had this feeling of betrayal from her. So I kind of like backed off. And I wish I hadn't. This is my regret, because I know that I would have, if she would have just told me, face to face, I have to leave because I do see what you're seeing, or to see these flags and my life is in trouble. I would have done everything and anything to protect her. And she didn't let us know until the Thursday before she went missing that he was threatening, he was stalking her, and she said he was going to kill her, because she did tell him on that Monday of December 1st. So that this coming on Thursday, she still had not told him she was going to divorce him. But by December 6th, she told him that she was going to divorce him. She was going to go through the divorce. And that's when well, I don't know what he actually told her at that point, but I know that she had the discussion with him on that Monday. And then by Tuesday after work, she was gone. From the last time we saw her alive was on the surveillance camera, leaving HEB. And on Monday, I even went to HEB to check up on her, and she was fine. So I felt like, okay, so she's living with my brother. My brother's there, but he was going to school, night school. So I guess that's where things could have happened, that he went straight from work to school and not home. And so that is what we believe, that there was foul play on my mother with her estranged husband. It is believed by many law enforcement agencies and private investigator and us, because of what I saw, and also what my sister was seeing. But my sister was actually being like lured by the estranged husband. He was going to visit her constantly, but I think he was getting information. And my sister is so like gullible that she wouldn't even catch on. And even though I was giving her warning that, hey, don't, you got to stop. You got to let this man get out of your life. You can't have him because of mom. She was still like, but why? I mean, he's a nice person. I'm like, he's not a nice person. You don't know him like I do. And I remember our last argument with my sister was early. It was that Thanksgiving day. That was the last time I got angry with my sister. And he was standing at the front door, and he just smirked at me as I walked out, gave me this awful smirk. And my sister did stop it. And when she stopped it that December, that week, she called me up at work, and she told me, hey, do you have some boyfriend that's mad at you or something, because there's a car coming and parking in front of our front of our house, and it's 4 a.m. in the morning. I said, no, I don't have anybody looking for me. I was divorced at the time. I said, you need to call the police department and place an order on that, report it and get a case number on it. And so she called my dad. Like, is it you, Dad, that you have a girlfriend, an ex-girlfriend may be mad at you? My sister was thinking the worst. Either it was me, my dad, or maybe her with her husband's ex-wife, maybe coming around trying to scare Like, no, I said, I'm telling you, call SAPD. So she did that. And Wednesday, she calls me up at work and she tells me, oh, you were right. Um, it isn't dad. It isn't you. It's gotta be either for me. So she called my mom to tell her and she called my mom on Thursday evening and she asked my mom, guess what happened? And explained it. And my mom, that's when my mom told her, no, it's not for any of y'all. It's for me. And she goes, for you? What do you mean? She says, Pete has a hit on me. And those were the exact words she told my sister. And that's my sister calls me up. It's 8 o'clock at night. I'm still at work. She calls me and she tells me, and then I call my ex-husband and I say, hey, can you go next door and speak to my mom? So he sent my daughter, she was already 23, I think, at the time. And she went across, but when she was going to my mom's house, because she lived right next door, my daughter stumbled something in the back going on in the backyard, and that was the one of the daughters, the eldest daughter that he has living in that same area where my mom was living with him. She came down and was warning my mother to go back to her dad because her dad had a hit on my mom. My daughter heard that. My daughter stayed on the corner of the house, and then my daughter popped out. And when my daughter popped out, the girl looked at my daughter and she just looked at my mom and said, please don't tell my father I was here. And she ran, jumped in her vehicle, and took off. And my daughter said, is that true? Is that really happening? Because we got to file a police report. So that was that Thursday. So I got the feedback and I said, no, 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 we got to go file a police report. My mom didn't want to. I said, we can't do it without you. We need to take you. And my sister was with me on that. And so was my daughter. So we'll all take you, but you're going to have to file it. We can take you and be there and help you out on it, but you got to be the one to do it. And I told my mom, I've always told my mom, if anybody threatens your life, you take it seriously, whether that individual is joking or not, you don't take it as a joke. I know I've never take anything like that as a joke. But so that's why I was adamant. And she still was on that Thursday, she was telling my daughter, no, 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 it's all going to blow over. It's all going to blow over. So my daughter did tell my mom, well, until it does blow over, you can't see the little one, which she was only 4 years old, because I don't trust that man, she said, and I don't know if he's for real or not. And you might be with my granddaughter, your great granddaughter, and he might take both of you, if he's serious. So until then, it broke my daughter's heart to tell her this, but she was really trying to get her to take it serious and file the police report as we're telling her that we gotta do immediately. We never got to that. That day we were supposed to go and take her. It was a Wednesday, the next day. We were supposed to take her on a Wednesday to file that police report because that was supposed to have been her day off. Little did we know that she took a shift for that Wednesday to go to HEB. And then HEB calls and says, hey, your mom hasn't answered her phone. Your mom hasn't come into work. This is not like your mom. That's when we learned she had switched schedules with an individual that was supposed to be off on Tuesday who wasn't off on that Tuesday because it was her birthday. So December 7th should have been her day off, but she didn't get it. So my mom says, hey, you know what? I'm off on Wednesday. Why don't you take my day off and I'll work for you? And they got approval. So that's how my mom was scheduled to go in on Wednesday. So apparently that's when we learned my brother learned Tuesday that he got home from school around 9:30 or 10 p.m. and mom wasn't home. He called my sister and he asked her, have you heard from mom? Have you seen mom? Is she over at your house? And my sister's like, no, she's probably out at the movies with her girlfriend, and she'll be back later on. Well, my brother said, hey, calls my sister back. She's not home. It's 3 a.m. or, I just don't feel right. And So he was calling all her friends, and everybody was saying no, they don't know nothing. So he went to work, and he used to work for Bexar County. So he filed a case there with Bexar County Sheriff's Department. So that was the first official case. So he filed it on for that Wednesday morning, and then he got off work early. And my husband already had gotten word that she still wasn't home. And my brother stumbled upon my mom's truck on the, he was going to see the estranged husband, and he stumbled upon my mom's truck there, and my husband took off and went straight to talk to the estranged husband. And he came out of his mobile home like he was waiting for somebody to show up, and just asked my husband, just wailing, what happened? What happened? And that's when my husband said, oh my God, you know, he had something to do with it. He's never come out like that. So my husband questioned him and stuff. And yeah, and he kind of felt like he was wanted to, but then here my brother was coming with Wilson County Sheriff's officers, and that kind of distracted him. And my husband left and left my brother with the Wilson County Sheriff's take over. And that's how I learned on Wednesday that all that Wednesday night after I got off of work, that all that went down during the day. And they came and told me that she never came home, and they found her truck. So that's how I learned.
Very heartbreaking. So now it's been 14 years.
Yes, it's been 14 years.
And is there any new updates that you know now?
There are tips. There a tip that came in because we did get a billboard with Season of Justice has helped us get a billboard for a whole year up in Floresville, and there a tip did come in, and I'm hoping that it does lead to something, you know. And yeah, there have been other tips, but they're not really they're not really like connected. They're kind of more like really out of a, yeah.
Now, how do you stay hopeful during this 14-year span?
For me, um, there are times that I do want to give up hope. It's inevitable not to feel that for me, because it is really hard to fight for a loved one year after year after year. I mean, I'm doing it because I'm not working, and my husband is the ultimate provider, and he's given me the ability to have that leisure time to spend fighting for my mom and advocating, not just for my mom, because the way I saw it from the very beginning is that my feet are already in the water. They're already there. I'm advocating for my mother. And while I'm there, I need to advocate for other people. So I started doing that with another organization that wasn't from San Antonio. But like I said, my journey evolved to become with a team member of Search and Support. And from there, it has grown, with supporting families wide and I mean wide of many missing persons, some that have given up, some that feel that ways. But yes, the giving up hope, the Lord doesn't let me give up hope, because every time I feel like I'm giving up hope, he just somehow there's a tip, or there's this, and there's that, and it just keeps going and going. And I always pray to him, if it's not meant, let me know. If I need to quit now because maybe she doesn't want to be found, maybe, I don't have dreams of her. I wish I could have dreams of her. And, I need a sign that, do I keep going, or am I on the right path? Am I in the right journey? Am I just supposed to drop it? And no, there's always another door opens, and others shut and others open, and it's just navigating me, that, and I'm just following where the doors open. And And I advocate now, just not for my mom, but for others together, and trying to build a unity with many other families and let them know that it is a hard struggle, but it does take the family. The family must fight for them, along with people that are willing to support the cause.
Now, back 14 years ago when your mom did go missing, there wasn't as much resources as there is now, correct?
Correct. There was not, and it was very hard for us. It was a lot of, it takes a lot of money to do the things that my sister and I have done. And then, getting involved now today, it really has, you know, from being no support at all, it has been a progression and an involvement that is now out there for new people in search for missing families, with search and support. They have assisted, I think, around 120 families, either by either news media, flyers, supporting them at vigils and birthday vigils and the day that they went missing, and handing out flyers, handing out water bottles with the labels, with their picture, and some have the Facebook page link on there, so it takes them straight to the site. Some have both, an AI, generated, an AI generated crime clip to it. My mom has one, Cecilia Gallegos has one, Megan Gonzalez has one, and some have their age progression, because they have not yet been found. There's Jordan Green. There's so many that families have given up, and they've just kind of dwindled off in the background. And I didn't know there was that many back in 2010. I mean, the only one I had ever heard of here in St. Joe was Patty Vaughn. And but when my mom went missing, I started digging and researching. My God, I started falling across all these missing people, but the families had just given up. And so I was like 4 years into it. And on the fifth and sixth year, families started resurfacing of the missing, and we united together. And that's how this started out, like Honk for the Missing. That was something that was brought by another friend of mine, Natty, whose grandson went missing, Joshua Davis. And she brought the Honk for the Missing in San Antonio. And we started like this little group that just grew and grew and grew. We had the Llamas family, who also was part of it. I mean, so many families. And then some of these families, again, have either found their loved one and, had some form of a new chapter for them, and they still support, and then others have just kind of given up quietly because things happen in lives. Like they either get sick or they just can't anymore, So, but it just seems like we gain new people that just are barely going through their journey. So we want to give them hope and know that it takes a family to fight and never give up. You can't just leave it to an organization to do it. The family themselves have to be willing to go all the way. And that's pretty hard. And I say it from experience, because having no support, just being me and my sister and our husbands that have backed us up, and the Lord guiding us, that's all we had. But there was no way we could give up on my mom. And we've been told that. Why don't you just give up? She's gone. We've been told many times, just, give it up. She ain't coming back. And that's not the point. That is not the point at all. And I love her, and my sister loves her, and she loved us. And I wouldn't, if I know that if I went missing or my sister went missing, my mom would probably go to her death looking for us. So, no, I don't see any time giving up one way or another. I'm not willing to give up. And when I do, I just fall back, pray, and I'll let the Lord pick me up again. And he does. So,
Absolutely. Now,
mhm,
again, I want to talk about the missing people in general in San Antonio.
okay.
How has it been? You've been on the front line seeing this. We just had the case of Suzanne Simpson, which is just one of many, on our Facebook when we post things about another person missing. You see all these comments of, another one. What are your thoughts on that? And is there a real issue here in San Antonio?
There is. There is a lot of issues in San Antonio. I see a lot with that domestic violence is involved, and I see a problem with San Antonio, honestly. And I can't speak for the other states, but I do see a lot of either political connection where that person gets more help than the other because of their political ties, or we just hit the presidential election per se. So we're going to grab this individual who has a great status, great community that knows her and loves her. And it's all the politic works that jump in, I mean, for some people, they only get one detective assigned to the case. I want to know with Suzanne, how many detectives have jumped in this case and that fast? I do see that. And it's something that you cannot unsee, especially when I know so many cases. I know how they've been treated, how they've been gone, and why people have fallen off and given up. Because we've had it. We went through, I don't know how many law enforcements, from Texas Rangers, Wilson County, Sheriff's Department, and let me see, I'm sure there's some others in there, but from all them, I mean, it was fight after fight after fight and getting down to bringing her case back to the Sheriff's Department. And the thing with Bexar County is that my sister and I don't leave them alone. I mean, we just keep, I want updates. No, I want an in-person meeting. No Zoom call. No, I'm going to I'm meeting you in person. And they've worked with us. So when we go, we present information that we may have or tips that were given, and we still include our private investigator. But yes, I do see San Antonio having a problem, and it's not just one problem. It's quite a few problems
Yeah, we've
from.
just been seeing it a lot, the missing people. So I really just wanted to get your thoughts on, someone who's experienced it and, how is it going so far? Has not gotten better, has it?
No, is it like I said, in the violence area, it's really has grown, and for some reason these perpetrators feel like they're entitled to commit a crime. It's almost if they know they're not going to get caught, or even if they get caught, they're just bouncing from house arrest or um, waiting in a jail cell and postponing trial after trial after trial. And so you wonder, like, what's up with that? Why is our DA doing that? Or, I mean, and on the law enforcement side, I can see that there's a lot that plays with that, meaning I can understand that we don't want to take a person to trial because you don't want the double jeopardy thing to ever occur. And so taking them all the way, that's the tricky part. You don't want to sentence someone and then you can't prove it, and then you finally get answers and then you can never do anything about it thereafter. So I see that role. But I also see a role where violence is taking advantage of that. And a lot of violence is being committed. And especially also now with the open borders, it's terrible. I mean, I don't feel that. I know Texas is one of the hubs that is being affected by that, and that is really scary because we can't even be out there late at night. I mean, without a man, without, people around us, I can't be out there, at the grocery store come 7 o'clock, is go straight home because, you know, violence is at an all-time high. And it seems like these criminals are not afraid, you know.
Now,
So
what was my next question? Do you feel concerned about the missing people still continuing here in San Antonio?
yes, yes, that is a big yes.
Now, do you think law enforcement is doing enough? There's procedures when missing people are gone. Do you think they're doing enough to stop this?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they're doing enough because, for one, funds get cut from them to have enough homicide detectives. Um, Crime can get reported, you know. Like, for example, I just had one situation at the dollar store or the Dollar General by my house the other day. Some individual popped out from the back. I was still in my car, and he was just acting really like he was under the influence, really agitated and jerking, and he wearing baggy clothes, bleached blonde hair, and I really felt unease. And another lady was parked next to me. She took off, and I felt bad. I didn't want to take off because I didn't know who was in the store and if the clerk was alone. And I just felt compelled that I can't leave. I had to wait. I waited there for this individual to come out. I would see him back and forth in there, and he wasn't coming out. So I called 911, and I went from, oh, well, that's not SAPD, that is Bexar County. And I got like transferred 3 times before Bexar County was the jurisdiction. And then, you know, it still took forever for them to get there. I reported that the individual, I said, I'm just afraid of he might hurt someone or several people in there. And so I waited, and finally, I went in and I looked at the young man in his face. His eyes were bloodshot. He finally walked out when he saw me. And I went in and I spoke to the girl, and she was like, thank God, thank God. I was so afraid. I was the only one in the store. I couldn't even call 911 because I didn't want to agitate him. And he said he was going to be back. And he didn't leave for 30 minutes. Well, finally, some sheriff deputy arrives, and his first remark was that this is not my jurisdiction, but I decided to come. And I thought, here I'm trying to tell him I was the one that placed the call, and I can tell you what I saw, and she can, tell you. But that was his first concern, was that this was not his jurisdiction, but he took the call. And then I saw another deputy arrive, and he went in, so I let her. And yeah, she told him that this young man wasn't leaving the store, and the only reason he left because I had walked in, and there was other people in there, but they all left. They all ran out, and that was his first comment, that it was not his jurisdiction. So I was concerned. Well, the next day I see this kid down the highway again, almost getting hit by another car in front of me, because he was again acting very erratic and on the side of the highway. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to ruin somebody's life. He's going to get hit. It's going to ruin another person's life. So here again, I'm placing another call, to Bexar County. And this time they said, oh yeah, we will look into it right away. The girl was not swapping me back and forth, and she took the call. And I don't know what became of that, if they found it, but that's what I had to
Right.
go through. It's like, I
Yeah.
don't know if this kid's going to wind up in somebody's backyard and enter their house and do something drastic, or something bad is going to happen to this kid because he's not being taken off the street, you
Right. I
know?
totally understand. Now,
Yeah.
what do you think needs to be done for like missing people continuing to happen in San Antonio?
Uh, what I really do think, I really do think that law enforcement, where they sit right now, they do need organizations to build an alliance together so that we can cover more area and have more fast searches immediately. And even if the national, the TV, starts letting know who went missing, what, it gets quick results, when it's being broadcasted constantly and out there. But if law enforcement was to utilize more of the nonprofits that qualify, and also use uh, private investigators or police officers that are retired and are willing to, hey, take a case, here, and because I know we have a lot of retired officers who still don't want to give up, and they usually turn into private investigators. You can utilize private investigators if they can have and communicate with other law enforcement, make it mandatory that they communicate with other law enforcement agencies, not just here in Bexar County, but maybe in another county, maybe in another state. All of them alliance together and work together and stop this territorial business. You know, I think that everybody can get in sync and know exactly what's going on, and pieces can be probably placed together in this puzzle. And I think a lot of cases can be solved, along with a lot of crime can come to a lower rate for missing persons, you know.
Yes, absolutely. Paula, thank you so much for meeting with me today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.